Should we just start with the one that's fresh and on everybody's mind, that morning when you woke up and you looked at your Facebook and you're like, what is going on? Oh my God, my life's over. Here's the funny thing. I did 3 interviews yesterday, 3 podcasts, and I was talking to this one guy, very, very successful. I was on his show and we were like, I didn't even know Facebook or Instagram was down. Same here. I was so busy that day. I had no clue that those 2 sites and WhatsApp were even down until my wife texted me saying, honey, does your Instagram work? I'm like, honey, I don't know. I haven't had time to check it out because mine doesn't work. And that's where it all began for me. That was at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What time did you realize Facebook and Instagram didn't work? And that should tell you, maybe you're spending too much time on Facebook. Why did Facebook go down? Was it a power outage? Doubt it. Was it somebody hacking their system? Nah. Stephen, why do you think Facebook and Instagram were shut down for an entire day, which dropped Mark Zuckerberg's net worth? What was it, like $9 billion? Dropped the price of the stock, and they never come back because I think people are onto Facebook saying you are trying to basically take things away from us. You're trying to hide the truth. And what the hell happened?
Who knows what happened? They're blaming it on a hack. Maybe we'll never actually know what happened, but it really is a fascinating what's going on with Facebook right now. I mean, they've managed to somehow completely piss off the entire Republican side of the aisle by suppressing stories and suppressing content and, basically just claiming all these false fake news stories that are actually real and not allowing the dissemination of information. So they're suppressing free speech essentially, and then they've also simultaneously managed to completely piss off the liberal lunatics, as I call them. And I don't mean any Democrats. I don't mean this in a political way. I mean,
there's plenty of lunatics out there, Stephen. You don't even need to say Democrat anymore. Just say the lunatics, and people just get it.
The lunatics, right? But the hardcore people that want it to be their way or no way. They're right. Nobody else is right. They've managed to piss off both of these groups of people at the exact same time. So they're getting it from both sides right now. I've never seen it happen before. So where this goes from here, who the hell knows?
Oh my God. So audience, I want to know, what do you all think was the reason why Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, for some reason, were all shut down? Do you think it was them compressing that whistleblower talking about it? I mean, it was all over the news. So I hear, I don't really watch the news. My wife fills me in when I get home and I'm like, honey, I don't care. The news isn't even real anymore. Oh, well, that might be real. It was one of those situations. So what do you guys think? I want to know what everybody thinks. So Catherine here from Facebook said, you believe it was an oops, a 6-hour oops. No, I don't think so. Does anyone else think it was an oops? Does anyone, what does everybody think? Definitely. So Charles here on Instagram said definitely suppression of information. Chad said, I think they were changing something with their platforms. Okay, maybe. I don't know how to say that one, but I think it was a network and a routing issue. It's so interesting. What does TikTok think? Free speech.
While they're commenting in, I'll tell you what CNBC is saying. It was Facebook.
Oh yeah, CNBC is full of real news. I should call CNBC just the fake news platform. But what are they saying? What nonsense are they pushing out there?
Well, they're saying that it's shut down for more than 6 hours. It's the worst shutdown outage they've had since 2008. When a bug knocked it out for about a day, but the service only had about 80 million users back then. Now, as you know, there's billions of users. And just I'm trying to see if it shows the financial numbers in this article. But as you were saying before, not only did his worth drop, but the amount of money that Facebook makes every minute is just staggering. I mean, it really is amazing.
I agree with that one. Yeah, I mean, and Shauna just posted something funny. So all of you that are on Facebook, I think you probably know by now, we do just a wee little bit of advertising on Facebook. And Shauna was putting ads up with our team. And she said, we spend on Facebook for marketing. As soon as they turned back on, like as soon as Facebook came back on, man, they were hitting our daily budget. They're like, we got to get our money because they lost a ton of money that day for that. So did they lose money suppressing information that actually could have harmed Facebook in a much bigger way? Did they make a mistake by doing that? Because now the truth might actually have leaked out. I'd love all your opinion, but it's crazy what happened. Dude, I'm screaming. Ha, ha, ha. Somebody just said on TikTok. That's awesome. Catherine has an interesting thing here. It's kind of long. Distributed network attacks are often referred to as distributed denial of service, DDoS attacks. This type of attack takes advantage of a specific capacity limit that it's kind of a lot for me to read, but maybe that's the reason, the DDoS. Who knows? But Facebook shut down. It pissed the world off. Instagram shut down. That pissed the rest of the world off. So we got everybody pissed off. We got all the advertisers saying, you literally just lost me X amount of dollars. I'm not going to advertise anymore. What is the impact that is going to have on Facebook? Are you guys looking for an opportunity? Maybe now is the time to buy Facebook. Did the stock drop that much, or will it continue to keep going down? I don't know. That's up to you guys. But boy, it made for some good news that day. And it gave all those vultures out there a little something to talk about, to spin their own way and to talk about. But let's get to something more fun than stupid Facebook.
I was just going to bring up, bugs do happen. So if it was a bug or if it was a hack, something like that, here's another article that just came out a couple of days ago from Bloomberg about a new DeFi company, a platform that mistakenly sent $89 million worth of crypto to its users. And the CEO is now begging users to voluntarily send it back. So that's a pretty big mistake as well, right?
Begging. Now we're beggars. It's just like, we keep talking about it. We keep saying it. It's just like, what the hell is going on out there? Shit is crazy. So let's get to the next thing. Southwest Airlines says that their staff must be vaccinated against COVID by December 8th under federal rules. So now you got Southwest. Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe American. I think United already kind of laid down the law and said they all have to be vaccinated. How many of the airline stewardess and airline employees are just going to say, no, I'm not doing it? I already had.
Last I heard, Delta was going to fine their employees like $200 a week or a month or something if they weren't vaccinated. So
literally, we should put together a fundraiser for Delta.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, maybe somebody should put together a fundraiser for Delta employees to pay the $250 a week. Now, I'm not saying, listen, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I am absolutely not an anti-vaxxer. My mother, my whole family has the vaccination, and good for them. They were trying to protect themselves. But, there's this gray area. And if you follow science, if there's this gray area of people that have had COVID, and there is an awful lot of people that have had COVID, and I'm one of them. People that have COVID have a natural antibody. The same thing that basically the vaccine is doing. And there's been studies that have shown that is just as good, if not better, than the vaccination. So people that have had it, should they still get vaccinated? I don't know. I'm not a scientist, and I don't even know what science to believe anymore. I simply know that if I just protect myself and my family and we don't go, out in the public, which sucks. We feel like confined little animals, but that's my choice. It's free to hear your choices, but Southwest Airlines, are they going to lose their staff? Are they going to lose their staff like our hospitals have? How big of an issue do you guys think it is right now that the hospitals don't have staff to take care of people that are sick and dying? And I'm not just talking about people that have COVID.
The other thing on that, Chris, is, all these nurses, all these hospital workers, all these airline flight attendants and pilots, they were doing this through the pandemic before vaccines even existed. So they weren't, they were out there, they were making it happen, they were fine. And then all of a sudden now they're being mandated for over a year, not having a vaccine or anything and not having to work. Where is this all out of nowhere? And now with new drugs coming out, like Merck's new pill that you can take that's supposedly very, very effective, where is that going to leave vaccines as the talk continues? So, I'm with you on the vaccines. Get it, be safe. But to mandate it is, in my opinion, un-American.
Yeah, it's a lot of people say it's unconstitutional. A lot of people say, why is the government so adamant about this? That's, you want to know, the vaccine, right? I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm vaccinated for everything, not COVID, and I'm free to say that. And you guys can hate me if you want because I don't have the vaccination. I already had COVID. So that's my free choice. And if I am willing to kind of go on the line and not get it knowing that, hey, I already had it, but I can still get it again if I'm stupid and unsafe, like the way I was when I first got it. Cause I'll be honest, like I probably got it because I got loose with it, and there's still a big problem out there and a lot of people are getting it. But, and I just here, let me go on the line and say this. I have to date lost 4 people close to me to COVID, directly for COVID. And some people would say, no, they probably didn't die of COVID. It was something else. No. I assure you, these 4 people died from COVID. One of them was my friend, Julie. He's salt of the earth. We know him. We used to go to events. He used to be one of our, our students. He's come to our events. He's been a big supporter. I just found out last week that we lost him. And, in my eyes, like, he seemed pretty healthy, maybe a bit overweight, but not obese. And COVID got him. Like, it's sad. Like I go to sleep at night thinking about that. Like, this is not something that, we should take lightly. Some people are like, oh, it's no worse than the flu. No, I had it. Trust me. It was, and Steven had it too. It's worse than the flu, bar none. And if you got some, respiratory issues of any sorts, like, beware. But if that's your situation, maybe the vaccination is right for you, but maybe it's not. Is it right for our children? Well, I don't know the truth on this, but I heard that they did a study, and this is Pfizer, and out of, I can't remember the numbers. My gosh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't even say it, but like there was more children that were dying from the vaccine than were dying from the actual COVID. And I don't have fact checks on that, but like that stuff, when you hear that and you got a 16-month-old, that scares the shit out of you. That's where I'm at. Now, I don't want to just go down this COVID pack in this thing, but each of us should be free to choose which path we want. If it jeopardizes other people, well, hey, maybe you're going to have to find a new job. If you're in an occupation and you haven't had COVID to have the natural antibodies and you don't want to get the vaccination, maybe the company should make you test every single day, or the company should give you alternatives or offer you a severance to leave. Like, I don't know what it is, but for the government to make it so these companies have to oblige to their rules, and then all of a sudden that results in a whole bunch of people losing their jobs in industries we can't afford to have people lose their jobs, like hospitals. Like, how many of you feel good that a bunch of people from hospitals are no longer nurses? You just lost a whole bunch of your nurses, and you just lost a whole bunch of your doctors because of their free choice. They didn't want to get the jab. And because of that, they're no longer there to save lives. That to me is a freaking problem. But who the hell am I? I don't know what you guys have. I don't have all the facts. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I just know that I'm trying to protect myself, my family in the way that I am, and you guys should be doing the same. So let's get back into what the F happened, because COVID is just a dry and boring thing, but it's in the news every day. Right there, California to require COVID-19 vaccines for all eligible students. Great. All right, so now what are we going to do? Have a bunch of students that aren't going to school anymore? So our education system, but you guys can figure what you want about colleges, whether those are really what people should be doing. So let's see. We got so many comments coming in here. Steven, which one do you want to talk about? Look at these things.
Well, you can head on that, or we can switch topics back over.
We got to get off this topic. I hate this topic, and I just don't want to talk about it anymore. So how about that? All right, Steven, I'm going to try to get rid of this flush because we got to move on to another topic. Let's see. What else?
One thing that you personally witnessed recently that's kind of affecting a lot of the supply chain and driving inflation right now is the international shipping containers off the coast of the West Coast right now. I mean, you saw those pictures when you're out there, right?
Absolutely. Listen, I was just in Huntington Beach. I spoke at 2 masterminds, the Avengers, and I spoke at Secret Knock. And at Avengers, like, I'm a surfer, so Huntington Beach is a surfer's paradise. I walked out to the beach looking at the surf saying, all right, should I get in or should I not? And I looked out on literally right out past the pier. There had to have been 60 ships anchored out there. And that's just Huntington Beach. This is literally, it's like a little pimple on the elephant's butt of what we're looking at. That's everywhere. Like, there are companies like in television, one of the video game producers, out there, they can't get chips to fulfill their new video game terminal called Amico, which is freaking awesome. They can't even get those things built because all the parts are on the ships. You are paying what, 30, 40? Some people, I heard people paying up to $100,000 over a sticker for that new Corvette because the chips, there's only so many of them. They can't produce them fast enough. There's a worldwide problem where the ships out there with all the goods and services can't get in. And that is a problem, but that is also something that is going to fix itself. It's not something that we have to really worry about. It's just a temporary transitionary problem. Truly, that's what it is, but it's damn well a problem because you know what it's doing? Have any of you looked at your shipping costs lately? Probably not, right? You're not really paying attention. But DHL, one of the major shippers, is raising the rates for U.S. shippers by 5.9%. Why? Why are they raising the cost for shipping? Folks, that's just DHL. UPS will get in line. FedEx will get in line. USPS will get in line. Our stamps will probably go up soon. Everything is going up in price. And some of it is transitionary, right? Where it's just going to be a temporary thing like lumber, right? Lumber went up and it came back down. But what isn't? I'll bet you any money your food prices won't ever come down. I don't know if we'll ever see gas prices down because we got an administration that hates fossil fuel. Does everybody realize that fossil fuel is in the earth and it is something that there is so much of it you will never run out? Now, some people say, oh, it's dirty. Well, fix that. Make it clean. There are clean diesels that put out almost zero emissions. Diesels. Yes. Are they using them in the world? No. Are factories compliant in using clean burning, whatever, they do. Their factories, are they clean? No. But you could start there. Instead, they're just like, nope, we're just going all electric. I got to tell you, folks, the electric thing to me, I love it. I love Tesla. I like everything that's going on. But I seriously fear that if we did go all electric on this stuff, we lost control because they can just flip a switch and you're done. Like oil, I don't know. There's two different ways you can look at it, but it's scary. But DHL raising the rates by 5.9 now just to have the stuff shipped to your house. Because, hey, how many of you are not going to the grocery store anymore? Because that's me. And if I do go, I do that carry out where you pay a little extra for a shopper to buy your stuff. That's how I've kept my family safe. But how many of you are not going to the stores like you used to and you're just ordering online and having it shipped to your house? Well, now all your goods and services, if shipped by DHL, just went up 5.9%. Is that a small amount? Hell no. That's a lot. Stephen, what do you got to say about that?
It all trickles down. I mean, I'm all for, moving away from oil and gas. I mean, there was just a really, really bad leak that was undetected off the coast of Huntington Beach in Los Angeles, and it's going to affect the ocean there for years to come. So stuff like that makes me say, something needs to happen. But that's just, not having enough people being aware of what's going on and not detecting that leak in time and not having the proper systems in place, more so than completely getting rid of it. But I mean, we shut down the Keystone pipeline. We allowed Russia to build their own pipeline. We're back relying on OPEC. I mean, everything's leading towards getting away from fossil fuels. So I don't think that we're ready for it as a country, as a nation, as a world yet, but we're pushing towards it quick. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But we're going to have a lot of hiccups along the way, and there's going to be a lot of things that are going to change in our lives, and it'll be interesting how it affects everything.
Oh my God, dude, the comments coming in are just epic. These are some, listen, folks, like on TikTok and Instagram, I'm not ignoring your comments. I'm looking at them. I'm just, every time you see me laughing, it's just because your comments are so freaking good. Let's see. We got Corby here, Corby Halifax. That might be where he's at. He said 2 + 2 = 6. There are 2 2s because of the government. Oh, that's great, man. U.S. current infrastructure cannot handle all the shit coming in. Absolutely cannot. You said dead on. Let's see. That's all Instagram. I'm against going away from oil. We are not open bound. Biden did that. Yeah. So, OPEC and oil, we're not going to ever get away from oil. It's like, study it. Like a lot of people are like, oh, it's just from the dinosaurs dying. No, it's just part of the earth. Like that's just the thing. There's so much of it. And we know this, like we know how much of it is. Now, is it the cleanest? Well, it can be, but maybe the technology just isn't there yet. But if everybody knows how a battery is built, is that the cleanest and the most eco-friendly way to do things? Absolutely not. Some will argue that the way that batteries are made for these electric cars and everything else they're doing with electric is more harmful to the economy than oil. But who am I to say with that? The one thing I will say about electric is building an electric car. Okay, so if you look at an electric car and you look at an internal combustion engine, oil, okay, the two cars. The electric car is a lot easier to build. It requires a whole lot less parts. If I'm not mistaken, I just read a newsletter. It's like 60 parts go into making an electric car. There are thousands of parts that go into making an internal combustion vehicle. So for one, that's cool, right? Less parts, less moving parts, less maintenance on an electric car. True, true, and true. But what does that mean if it takes 1,000 parts to build an internal combustion engine and only 60 to build an electric? What do they not need? Think about this. I want you to think. Can anyone answer, what do you not need when you only need 60 parts versus 1,000? What's the one differential you do not need anymore to make an electric car? Look in the mirror, folks. You. They don't need you anymore. They don't need employees because they need a whole lot less employees. Heck, they probably can do it with machines. They can build an electric car. So what about the unions? What about the labor unions? Are they going to break down the labor unions? They've always wanted to do that. So the differential is you're going to be out of work. Welcome to the new world. Facts. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, but it will eventually happen. Just think about that. Thousands of parts versus 60. Much easier to build it at 60, a whole lot less people, and the car rolls off the lot. And yes, maybe it's eco-friendly. So let's get... All right, if you like that video, make sure you check out this video right now. And also, don't forget, subscribe to my channel, and don't ever forget to smash that alert button. We'll see you on the next one.